22-year-old community college student Jasmine Pace seemed to have everything planned for Thanksgiving 2022, but a chilling series of events would soon leave her family grasping for answers. Jasmine sent a startling text to her mother, cancelling her holiday plans at the last minute. Shortly after, an unusual Facebook post emerged reading, "Enjoying Thanksgiving with my baby," paired with an outdated photo of Jasmine, her signature tattoos missing. While her family initially believed Jasmine was grieving her recent loss of her grandmother, a darker scenario was unfolding. Someone was deliberately impersonating Jasmine, and panic quickly overshadowed their unease. The night before Thanksgiving, Jasmine left her mother's home in Chattanooga, Tennessee at 11:30 p.m., driving her white Chevy Equinox, never to be seen again in her usual bubbly spirit. The following day, her family received a text claiming she was staying at her friend Emma's house. But another detail didn't add up. Emma confirmed Jasmine wasn't staying there. More alarming were identical text messages sent to relatives and friends, all insisting Jasmine needed space and time alone. Her family sprang into action, tracing her vehicle through the car's GPS feature. 4 days later, Jasmine's SUV was found abandoned at Signal View Condos. The driver's seat was noticeably adjusted for someone taller than the petite Jasmine. Frustrations mounted as police categorized her case as another missing person report, hesitant to assume foul play. Meanwhile, Jasmine's mother, Katrina, refused to sit idly by, relentlessly attempting to connect the dots. One peculiarity stood out: a phone call Jasmine had with Jason Chen, a student she'd been casually dating the night she disappeared. Jason's detached demeanor and insistence that he hadn't been in contact with her immediately raised suspicions, especially after cell phone records revealed their hour-long phone call. Despite sharing these findings with police, no action was taken, prompting Jasmine's family to investigate Jason's life on their own. Through relentless efforts, Katrina and Jasmine's father, Travis, gained access to security footage at Signal View Condos. Footage showed the Equinox entering the complex. However, the driver's identity remained unclear. The family wasn't giving up. They uncovered a breadcrumb trail leading them to an apartment building on Tremont Street. There, neighbors revealed unsettling noises from Jason's apartment on the night Jasmine vanished. The Pace family entered Jason's apartment, desperate for clues. What greeted them shook them to their core. Belongings belonging to Jasmine, including her travel bag and ID, were lying in plain sight. Once again, they informed the police, only to face further delays. That evening, exhaustion turned to grim determination. The family scoured dumpsters for clues and meticulously revisited Jason's apartment. As the clock ticked, darker evidence began to trickle in. Finally, a search warrant allowed police re-entry. What they found that night revealed the horrifying truth: blood spatter across multiple rooms and signs of a violent attack. Cleaning supplies and displaced furniture suggested deliberate attempts to cover up the crime. Among the haunting discoveries, a stained carpet seemingly relocated to conceal evidence stood out. A single kitchen knife rested on the bed, chillingly echoing events soon to be detailed. Detectives traced Jason's movements through surveillance footage and digital footprints, piecing together an ominous timeline. In Walmart, Jason was seen purchasing cleaning products in the early hours after Jasmine's disappearance. Wearing distinct white sneakers later found discarded in the trash at his building, his casual demeanor masked his sinister activities. Footage later revealed Jason handling a massive suitcase in his apartment complex, struggling as he dragged it to his car. Alarmingly, his black Toyota Camry was spotted leaving the area shortly after. Investigators suspected the suitcase held a terrifying secret and intensified their search efforts across Chattanooga. On December 1st, a seemingly routine sweep of Suck Creek Road led detectives to a grim discovery: Jasmine's lifeless body, bound and stowed within a suitcase near the riverbanks. Her remains bore the harrowing marks of over 60 stab wounds, each a testament to Jason's perverse violence. 2 broken handcuffs and evidence of an intense struggle hinted at Jasmine's determination to fight back until her last moment. Jason's attempts to manipulate the narrative were laid bare through uncovered notes in his possession. Incriminating details, such as Jasmine's missing cell phone SIM card and metadata, pointed directly to him. Disturbingly, a photo of Jasmine taken within Jason's bathroom the night of her disappearance offered a chilling glimpse into her final hours. Paired with staged messages and deliberate distractions like "slept like a baby," Jason's calculated behavior painted him as a remorseless predator. For true crime enthusiasts, Jasmine Pace's case goes beyond a cautionary tale. It's a compelling dive into the psychology of manipulation and desperation for accountability. Jason meticulously crafted a facade until the evidence, a tangled web of digital footprints, surveillance, and forensic breakthroughs, betrayed him at every corner. To her grieving family and a community shaken to its core, Jasmine's story serves as a stark reminder. The search for truth can only rest when hidden pieces are unearthed. Stay tuned for the next spine-chilling episode of this investigation as we delve into Jason Chen's trial and the impact of Jasmine's untimely death on the city of Chattanooga. What justice awaits for a family fighting to ensure Jasmine's voice is heard? Jasmine Pace was more than a victim of a heinous crime. She was a vibrant young woman deeply loved by her family and friends. Known affectionately as Jazzy, Jasmine had dreams of having her own children. An avid animal lover, she adored her 4 cats and embodied warmth, intelligence, and compassion. Her older sister, Gabby, recounted Jasmine's fierce loyalty, describing her as someone who never burned bridges and always cared for those around her. Jasmine's story, however, took a grim and shocking turn, leaving a trail of grief, unanswered questions, and a chilling criminal investigation that captivated the nation. In November 2022, Jason Chen, Jasmine's then boyfriend, committed an unthinkable act. Days after her disappearance, the horrifying details of her murder began to emerge. By December, Jason was granted bond at $5 million, leaving the public outraged and desperate for answers. What followed was a disturbing unveiling of Jason's actions, using Jasmine's phone and SIM card to manipulate her social media accounts and access her finances. One particularly haunting detail revealed Jason's cold detachment. While Jasmine's lifeless body was concealed in his apartment, he messaged another woman he had met on Tinder, nonchalantly stating, "I guess we're dating now." Moments later, he excused himself to clean his apartment, adding a chilling nonchalance to an already devastating crime. As the trial date loomed, anticipation swelled, with many skeptical about any potential defense strategy Jason could use against the mountain of evidence. On the trial's opening day in January 2025, the courtroom was left stunned as Jason's defense attorney, Josh Wise, openly admitted his client's guilt. Wise argued, however, that the murder was not premeditated, but a result of a sudden, passionate argument gone horribly wrong. This strategy sought to have Jason convicted of voluntary manslaughter instead of first-degree murder. The defense painted a chaotic narrative of the night Jasmine died, claiming a heated argument erupted after she confronted Jason about Tinder notifications on his phone. Allegedly, Jasmine attacked him with a broken wine glass, and Jason, acting in self-defense, grabbed a knife in the heat of the moment. Wise explained that the shackles found on Jasmine's body were an act of panicked concealment rather than premeditation. Throughout the trial, vital evidence unraveled the defense's claims. Phone data and witness testimonies told an entirely different story. A neighbor, Courtney Brewer, testified hearing a woman's desperate screams and frantic footsteps at 2 a.m. on the night of the murder. The prosecution highlighted these details, building an airtight timeline that placed Jason at the center of a cold, calculated act. Notably, the medical examiner, Dr. Stephen Cogwell, delivered critical testimony. Physical evidence suggested Jasmine was in a fetal position when attacked, further supported by the positioning of stab wounds on her left side. The shackles found on her body were believed to have been applied while she was still alive, rendering her defenseless against the brutal assault. Additionally, there was no alcohol detected in her system, directly contradicting Jason's claim that the two had been drinking wine. The Tinder messages Jason claimed provoked Jasmine were proven non-existent, dismantling the notion of a crime of passion. The defense attempted to raise doubts about the integrity of the crime scene. Jasmine's mother, Katrina, had entered the apartment before police secured it, prompting the defense to argue possible evidence contamination. They also suggested a knife, central to the prosecution's case, may have been planted. However, their arguments lacked corroborative evidence and merely hinted at inconsistencies rather than undermining the state's concrete case. Further confusion arose when the defense pointed to what they claimed was a bloody handprint on the bedsheets. Yet under cross-examination, they admitted the stain had not been tested, leaving their claim without scientific support. Ultimately, the jury saw through these attempts to deflect blame. Prosecutor Cody Womp constructed a compelling case around Jason's premeditation. Alongside physical evidence, a key witness, Courtney Brewer, described hearing what sounded like an attempt to flee. Brewer's testimony suggested Jasmine had realized the danger she was in, which signaled a deliberate intent on Jason's part to ensure she couldn't escape. Womp emphasized the brutality of the crime, the stab wounds, the use of restraints, and the calculated steps Jason took afterward. These actions highlighted cold deliberation rather than a moment of passion. The jury ultimately agreed, deliberating for less than an hour before convicting Jason of first-degree premeditated murder. Following the guilty verdict, Jason's sentencing hearing tugged at the courtroom's emotions. Jason's mother made a heartfelt plea for leniency, asking the jury to allow him a chance at parole after years of incarceration. His defense attorney argued for the possibility of redemption, claiming that even the most condemned individuals could change. However, the jury was unshaken. Given the heinous, cruel, and calculated nature of the crime, they sentenced Jason to life in prison without parole. This decision brought a sense of closure for Jasmine's grieving family, though the emotional scars of losing her would never fully heal. In the wake of the verdict, Jasmine's family pursued a wrongful death lawsuit against Jason's parents, accusing them of aiding their son after the murder. Strained relationships within the family came to light with testimonies reflecting the emotional toll of the trial. Jasmine's loss proved to be an irreparable fracture in the lives of those who loved her most, adding layers of heartbreak to an already devastating story. The tragic murder of Jasmine Pace illuminated the depravity and cunning of her killer, Jason Chen. But it also showcased the unwavering resolve of her family and the justice system. True crime enthusiasts are left haunted, yet riveted by a case that underscores the fragility of trust and the lengths to which justice must go to hold violators accountable.